In the midst of a pandemic induced economic shutdown that has now claimed about 22 million jobs, there is at least one industry that is still doing very, very well: health insurance industry. Now, on Wednesday, United Health Group, that's the largest private health insurance provider in the US, said that it saw significant increases in profits over the last 3 months. Now, that, of course, is is at the same time millions of people in the United States were either losing their employer-based health care, and thousands of people were dying from coronavirus. Now, the company said actually that the coronavirus outbreak had, quote, minimal impact on its earnings in the first quarter of 2020 and is unlikely to disrupt the company's profit outlook for the rest of the year. Hey, look, we got a global pandemic. Of course, we're going to clean up. Yeah, we're doing fantastic. Turns out people need their health insurance. Now, United Health Group's first quarter 2020 earnings, for example, according to its earnings report, its revenues grew $4.1 billion or 6.8% to about $64.4 billion total, reflecting broad-based revenue growth across Optum and United Healthcare. Now, Optum and United Healthcare, of course, are owned by United Health Group. First quarter earnings from operations, they say, grew $164 million or 3.4% year over year to $5.0 billion, the company said, noting that the costs of the coronavirus pandemic were offset by, quote, lower elective care demand, meaning fewer people sought out non-essential medical treatment over the last 3 months as COVID-19 spread across the United States. So now, if less people are going and getting less elective care, right, they continue to pay premiums. Well, that premium, their premiums are income. So more money's coming in, less money is going out, and they reap the profits. Now, Wendell Potter. Wendell Potter is a self-described reformed insurance propagandist. So he used to actually write talking points that are pro-health insurance companies, anti-Medicare for all. So he came up with the talking points that they're using right now, like, oh, if you go to Medicare for all, well, it's going to take away your choice. It's going to take away your private insurance, or it's going to take away your private health care, and you won't be able to choose your provider. Now, that's actually 100% wrong. And Wendell Potter, he knows this, and that's why he's like, I know that's a BS talking point. That's my BS talking point. I'm for Medicare for all, and you should be too, because it's stupid to stay with our private insurance model. Nonetheless, he said this, quote, while America is reeling from the COVID-19 crisis, my old industry, the private health insurance racket, is winning big. United Health easily blew away Wall Street's expectations for the first 3 months of 2020. The $5 billion it reported earning over the first 3 months of the year is actually up 3.4% over the same quarter last year, despite losing almost 1.2 million in health plan membership. That's, of course, regular people that have lost their health insurance, that no longer are insured, right? That no longer have that ability to go see a doctor if they get sick. And a lot of them, of course, have lost their employer-sponsored health care because of the contraction in jobs, massive layoffs. But hey, you know what? United Health is doing fantastic. Wow, look at that. Potter says this, quote, in other words, they're thriving during a pandemic. Now, you might ask what they're doing with this money. Well, here's where you're about to get pissed, right? Now, you might ask, okay, look, maybe they're taking their money and they're going to help reduce premiums so that more people can afford insurance, especially during this time, because it's really important to have insurance during the pandemic, just in case you get the COVID, right? Well, what they did instead is they took about $1.7 billion of their profits and used it to buy back their own stock. Not only that, but they will not be reducing their premiums. In fact, according to a recent study, companies like United Health are expected to increase their premiums by up to 40% next year. So I guess we're going to pay for it. We're going to pay for it as these companies are making billions. Absolutely gross. As Potter puts it, the bottom line is Americans are getting sick and dying, and doctors are risking their lives to save them in this crisis, while health insurance companies are denying coverage and squeezing doctors to generate record profits. Of course. This is why we need Medicare for all. And this is it. Health insurance corporations are a cancer that's eating away at our collective health. Simply put. That said, unfortunately, many lawmakers don't care, especially Democrats, unfortunately. And they would rather do legislation that would subsidize health insurance companies even further with taxpayer money. In fact, on Tuesday, Representative Bobby Scott, Democrat from Virginia, he unveiled legislation that would allow laid off and furloughed workers to continue buying into their employer-sponsored insurance plans at no additional cost. So no additional cost. So understand what that means. These people who have lost their jobs, who no longer have that income, will still be required to pay their premiums. But the federal government will then pick up the employer-sponsored portion of that, meaning these health insurance companies will see no loss of revenue. They will see a gigantic subsidy from the government under this piece of legislation. Ridiculous. This is just another giveaway. It's another giveaway to health insurance corporations. Now, on the other side, on the progressive side, here's our plan, right? And this is put forward by Pramila Jayapal and Senator Bernie Sanders from the House and Senate, respectively. They introduced legislation last week that would provide no-cost health care to everyone for the duration of the coronavirus crisis by expanding Medicare. Medicare would cover all essential medical costs for the uninsured and all out-of-pocket expenses for those with health insurance. So that's pretty smart. Not only is it smart health-wise and morally correct, but also it's good for the very reason that no one would do it, right? Because it would work, it would be effective, and it would be incredibly popular. It would show that we wouldn't need the blood-sucking insurance companies because government could do a better job when it comes to providing insurance. You wouldn't lose your doctor. You wouldn't lose your provider. In fact, you would be covered for everything. The end result, of course, proving that the health insurance corporations and their propaganda is absolutely 100% wrong. And then if people realize that, they might think, oh my God, we just bet on the wrong horse. We just nominated Joe Biden, who is not in favor of Medicare for all, who said he would veto Medicare for all if it came to his desk, which would be a monumental undertaking to begin with, to go through Republicans and corporate Democrats to end up on Joe's desk for him to say, oh, no, I'm not interested. You know why? Because a lot of my donors are health insurance companies. Well, of course I wouldn't be in favor of that. So we can't have that, obviously. You know, we can't have anything nice because, well, why don't you think about the shareholders? Well, unfortunately, that's all what America looks after, especially when it comes to our political class. And that's why, unfortunately, companies like United Healthcare are going to continue cleaning up in this crisis while millions of Americans and their families suffer. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.